After spending the day with the 458 Spider, I can honestly say it's probably the best car that I've ever driven. It's not without its flaws, however, so here are some of the things I hate about the 458 Spider. First up, the throttle response is so intense, it's overbearing. They need a little bit of space at the top of the pedal that pretty much doesn't do much at all, so that if you accidentally step on it a little bit too hard, or as Chris Harris described it, if you sneeze, you're not thrown back into your seat. Great for a race car, but for a car that obviously is predominantly going to be driven on the road, it needs that millimeter or two of breathing room so that you're not going like this. Especially on the freeway, it's very noticeable. If you're going up and down hills and you're trying to maintain your speed, just the tiniest little tap pushes you back into your seat. Very, very easy fix. Second up, the paddle shifters. While the 7-speed automatic dual clutch transmission is incredible, one of the best in the business, absolutely, the paddles being mounted to the steering column makes for a bit of a mess when you're driving quickly. If you are turning the steering wheel and you want to make a shift while mid-turn, you fight for where the paddles actually are. If your hands are locked on the wheel at 9 and 3 and you're turned halfway, you can't reach the paddles. Now, there's an argument to be made that if you have your hands crossed, you may forget which paddle is up and which is down, but I highly doubt that somebody driving a 458 that aggressively is going to not remember that upshift is on your right hand. Very simple fix. The action is pretty nice, although there feels like there's a little bit of slop in the paddles. Could be because this is a 2013 and it has some miles on it. Actually, it doesn't really have many miles at all. It only has 1,400. But still, the paddles could be a little bit better and could be mounted in a better location. Third, and this is a safety feature that concerns me. The horn is mounted on the steering wheel rim itself. Up a bit at 10 and 2 position, you squeeze the horn with your hands. The problem is, if you own another car, which if you own a 458, you probably own 5 other cars, you're used to, in an emergency situation, reaching your hand quickly for the center of the wheel and hitting the horn. Well, if you do that, nothing happens because there is no horn in the center of the wheel, only at the sides. I get what they're trying to do. You can keep your hands on the wheel, although you've got to kind of move your thumbs in an unnatural position to reach the horn. But for safety, I think they should have left it in the center of the steering wheel. Almost no other car that I can think of has the horn located any place other than that. A second safety feature that's a bit concerning. The speedo is, well, non-existent. You've got an analog tachometer centered in the middle of the dash. Looks awesome, very functional. The only reading on that is RPMs as well as the gear you're in. Now, the actual gear you're in, first right now, is about 4 times larger font than how fast you're going. To the left on the little LCD display, you've got a, you're going this speed, but it doesn't really matter. And if you have any eyesight problems whatsoever, you won't even know. This is a car that, of course, does very well on the track, but most people are going to drive it on the road. So to not really be able to see how fast you're going is dangerous for getting tickets. Obviously dangerous for endangering your lives or others on the road. But if you are paying attention and you're a good driver, the biggest concern I see here is, oops, I'm accidentally going 100 miles an hour. I didn't know that. Sorry, officer. Damn, that's a $1,200 ticket. You can bring up a digital speedometer on the left instrument cluster, but the font on that is even smaller than the original font for the speed itself. So can't really tell how fast you're going. The 458 Spider is a brilliant mix of performance and having an open top experience. There are some issues, however. Because it's not a full carbon monocoque, having that removable roof means that it loses 30% chassis rigidity. Something like a McLaren doesn't have that issue at all. It also adds 110 pounds, which isn't all that much, but it's some extra weight. The biggest thing that kind of bugs me is you don't have access to viewing that beautiful V8 engine in the back. In the McLaren, you still, even in the Spider, got a viewing angle, a glass display of the masterpiece that is behind you. This Ferrari claims that they could have had a glass engine cover. However, the exposed retractable hardtop would have been apparent, and apparently, according to them, it would have been ugly, and Ferrari doesn't like doing anything ugly. That being said, if McLaren can do it, I feel like Ferrari can as well. Of course, I could also go on about how ridiculous the options list on this car are. See this little black horse here? $1,200 for this. You just buy a horse sticker off eBay and just slap it on there for $2. Anyways, I love the 458 Spider. It's an incredible car. There's some gripes that I have about it and some ways that Ferrari, in my opinion, could have improved the vehicle. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.